right, there we go. That's what I want to hear. We'll wait till after to see if you actually like it or anything. So my name's Allison Sheridan. I do the NosillaCast Mac podcast. My tagline is a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. In other words, a giant Macintosh bias. But I actually named it weird so that I could talk about whatever I wanted. So last week on my show, I had a guy talk about Windows 8 and the Microsoft Surface. Of course, I mocked him a lot, so that was fun. I bought a Nexus 7 just to stir things up and irritate people. But it is really a very biased Mac podcast. Comes out every week, and I've done 391 shows, I think, now. So 7.5 years worth. So it's one of those things, if you like a show on clockwork, you're going to get it from me. So the first half of it is gadgets and tools and stuff and listener reviews. And the second half is called Chit Chat Across the Pond. It originally started with a guy named Bart Bouchatz out of Ireland, who's a fantastic security specialist and Linux guy, Mac guy, really, really interesting guy. But we've changed it to where he's on every other week, and then there's somebody else on the alternate week. So that's pretty much a potpourri afterwards. So I won't do this for every single time, but I just thought I'd give you a little introduction if you didn't know who I was. So the purpose of this talk is to talk about productivity on iOS. We talk a lot about it being a consumption device, but I actually use it for productivity kind of stuff. Anything you see in here is something I actually use. So you might say, when I'm talking about one tool, you'll say, well, yeah, but what about this tool? Well, sure, that's a great tool. That's fine. I don't use it. So I never talk about stuff I don't know about. I try to stick to topics I actually know, so that seems a little bit safer. I'm not a big fan of charts. I actually hate PowerPoint. I actually hate Keynote too, but I hate making charts. But I'm going to, I do have charts, but that's to help me remember where we're going. We're going to jump in and out and do a lot of demo stuff, so that's more fun, I think. Slideshare.net/NosillaCast. If you write that one thing down, then you don't actually have to take notes on anything else I say, because all of these charts will be in SlideShare. I'm pretty sure the links work in them. If they don't, I'm actually going to post them in, I'm not on the mic yet, am I?
Right.
Thank you. This is my able assistant, Steve Sheridan, in the front row doing the video here, and he's just pointing at the mic. Forgot all about it. Luckily, I'm loud, so that works. Anyway, you'll be able to get to those whenever I get to a good internet connection when I get back and it's all done. So probably in, what do you think, February, March, I'll be back in shape. So anyway. All right, let me go ahead and I'm going to sit down, because the ship moving is just weird when you're standing, I think. All right, how's that distance? Whoa, is that too loud? Oh, okay. Sounds really loud here. All right, so I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff that works on the iPad and the iPhone. So what I tried to do was designate for you when something's only iPad or only iPhone. I put the hashtag iPad or hashtag iPhone to designate which one it works for. If you see no indication, that means it exists in both places. In some cases, it works best on the iPad, like you could do it on the iPhone, but it's like, why would you, kind of a thing. So again, no indication means it works both places, but if you see that hashtag, and I'll try to talk through it when I get there. So I wanted to talk a little bit about gestures first, so I'm going to do some stuff on just ways to go faster when you're using the iPad, and this is more iPad kind of stuff, and then I'm going to get into some actual tools after the fact. So I am using, let's see, Don and I did the same thing except differently. I'm using a MiFi for the internet connection, but again, it's not connected to the network. This would normally takes the cell signal and turns it into Wi-Fi, but I don't have a cell signal, so it's just creating Wi-Fi between these two devices. And then I'm using a tool called Reflection from reflectionapp.com that allows me to display the iPad on screen. Again, just like with Don, though, you can't see where my fingers are, so it's unfortunate. You're just going to have to hopefully be following what I'm talking about here. So let's talk about a couple of gestures. One, I'm going to do a four-fingered swipe up, and you'll see that's a quick way to get to the icons down at the bottom of your running applications. Now, you know you can do that with a double tap of the home button, but somehow those home buttons always feel like they're gonna go bad eventually. Like even if it hasn't, I just hate clicking it. Like, oh, I used up another one of my clicks. So I use that. Another thing you can do at this point, let's see, I don't need it displayed for you guys, do I? If I go four-fingered up and then I slide to the right, then I can get to the control. So I can change the brightness from here, I can change the volume, and this is the AirPlay button if you haven't seen that before. Before I had something that I could connect to AirPlay, I couldn't figure out how this thing worked because I didn't have the button. So if it's not on a Wi-Fi network that there's something to play to, you won't see the button. So right now I've got it to Core i7 is the name of my Mac and mirroring there. So that's just a quick little four-fingered swipe thing. Let's see. Oh, I know the next one I was going to do. If you go into an app, like let's say I'm going to go into my mind mapping tool that you'll hear about in a minute, and I can use four fingers to swipe to the left and see the different running applications, some of them being more interesting than others. That's kind of a hole in the space-time continuum there. That's the app, that running on the iPad, not on the Mac, that you're seeing there. So it's kind of nice to be able to flip around that way and not always be double tapping that home button, and that's something I'm kind of fond of from a productivity standpoint. I often forget that that left-right thing with the four fingers is there. I forget about it. Another gesture that my friend Niraj uses all the time, but I can't get it to consistently work, is if you take four fingers, possibly five, and squeeze in, it actually takes you out of the application. Yeah, so it's five. I must always hit four and think it doesn't work. He does it all the time. It works for him. So there's no place like home. One of the things that I get mixed up in is I make all these great little folders. You know, I got games and utilities. Oh, but wait, I have another utilities folder. I got audio. Wait, that's separate from video? Well, there's video, but why is Downcast not video? I get all confused. So all I do is I double tap the home screen, the home button. Whoops, sorry. Get to the home screen. Let's see. If I was on this screen, I'd hit it once to get to the home. Hit it again, and you actually get a search thing there. That search searches all over the place. Oh, I didn't switch to, you guys aren't seeing anything I'm doing. Thank you, Steve. See, I told you it's really handy that he's here. So this gets you to search, and you can search everything here. You can search your emails, you can search for applications, you can search for documents, anything you want. So if I wanted again to go to, let's see, MindNote is one of my Mind Managers. I can just tap in there, and it actually searched the folder. If you notice, double tap again. Whoops, I always double tap. Single tap, there we go. You'll notice that it found iThoughts HD, which is a mind mapping program. The reason it found it is it's in a folder called Mind Maps. So if you can't find the folder that you're looking for, you can find stuff that way. So I use this all the time. I just basically use it as an app launcher. Sometimes I just don't bother to put things in folders, I just use search. So it's sort of like on your Mac, you use Spotlight or another tool to do search. You don't sit there, scrolling through your apps folder to find things. So I think it's a little bit easier to use that. So like I said, yeah, you can find apps, you can find contacts, you can search the web from there, you can search Wikipedia, you can do all kinds of stuff. It's basically Spotlight for iOS. By the way, I like questions and interruptions, but I don't take a breath, so you have to just jump in. All right, anybody seen Zombieland here? Oh, question. Except for Raleigh. I don't want Raleigh asking questions.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and cry. Apparently, it was showing you the folder from which the app was found. I think that's something new. It didn't used to do that.
Oh, Raleigh's saying it didn't used to search the folder. Yeah, it didn't. In fact, it didn't even used to show you the folder it was in.
That's exactly right. So you had no idea where the hell it was.
Yeah, I do like that it does that now.
Okay.
Definitely, and that's a good point. I hadn't noticed it. No wonder I hadn't noticed it before. Thank you, Robin.
Anytime.
This next piece I can't really show you on because I don't have an internet connection. All of these apps are more internet related. Double tapping with your finger in iOS is really useful. For example, if you use a Twitter client like Tweetbot or it might work with a regular Twitter app. If you've got a bunch of new tweets have come in and you want to get to the top, if you double tap on the time with your finger, it'll scroll you to the top. The same thing happens in Safari. You can double tap on the time to scroll a web page to the top, so you don't have to sit there going scroll. So double tap is really handy there. The graphic that I have showing there, let's see, do I have a cursor? Yes, I do. If you double tap around here, or maybe is it single tap? Yeah, no, it is double tap. On the iPad only, I couldn't get this to work on the iPhone, it actually allows you to find on page, so you can actually search within the window. And that was one that when I found that, I nearly cried. I was so happy, because I don't like reading. I want to just search, find what I need, and move on. So I thought that was fun. In Contacts, on the iPhone, if you double tap, you can get to search at the top. So if you double tap on the time, it scrolls to the top. It'll actually pull up a little search window at the top. Again, that one I couldn't get to work on the iPad, so I might have just been spastic, but I think they operate a little bit differently. Let's see, in Mail, I said that one right? Scroll to, you can have a single message open, and if you double tap at the top of that screen, not on time, if you double tap at that screen, then you'll get, it'll take you to the top of that menu. Hey, can whoever's dinging mute your phone? That would be nice, thank you. And we said single tap on the inbox to scroll to all messages at the top. For some reason that one's single tap. I don't know why it's not double tap. All right. So you've had this happen before. If you're anybody in the room over 40, anybody? No, okay. Three of you, right? I'm on the phone to Time Warner and to our ISP, and I said, I got this problem. My router's not working, and she says, all right, well, read me the MAC address on the bottom of your router. And I said, honey, I can tell there's a sticker. You know? There's no numbers on it. Let me get a 14-year-old to read it to me. Or what if you had a way to get to it that you could actually use a tool to do it? I'm going to show a tool called Lumen, which I'm going to search for because I'm too lazy to figure out where it is. You could use your iPhone actually to do this. You can use the camera and actually just pinch to zoom in and look at it. But there's a couple of things that are nice about Lumen. Lumen is $2, and we could use it. Let's see. I've got it on the right side. Let's say I needed to read something off of this. You're not watching me. There we go. Sorry. There we go. You may have to do that a couple hundred times. What's nice about that is, like, if you wanted to see, okay, that's Verizon Jetpack. All right, I'm going to tap it there. There's a lock button on the right side. I'm going to tap that, and now it's locked it, and I can zoom in and see it really, really clearly. I can also save those messages in a side thing. I forget how it's. There you go. Down at the bottom of the screen, you see 3 little black squares. If I tap on that, that shows you my most recent one. So I can save that. And I think that's the pencil button, if I recall. So now that image is saved there, and I can unlock, and now I can take another picture, right? So I'm just gonna do another one. We'll just take that picture there, and now I could save that one. And we've got down at the bottom now we've got a series of pictures there. So you could even email that to somebody if you want to say, okay, I want to put that in my photo library email. I want to tweet that, my MAC address to everybody, I guess. By the way, the thing I've got a picture of there, that's called a gridded. If anybody wants to play with it afterwards, it's kind of a fun thing. It's basically to hold all your cables. It's real cheap. It's like $10-12. They come in different sizes, different colors, and like you can shake it and they don't fall out because those strips have little dots on them that are rubberized. Just a little side note. I happen to have that out there.
Where did you get it?
I got it at Amazon. So it's called Gridit, Gridit, dash between the grid and the it. And I lied, that was not in the presentation. She did mean that. Lumen will also let you use the light on your device, on your iDevice, iPhone or iPad, if you've got so it can turn the flashlight on so you can actually see things. Menus in a dark restaurant, again, anybody had trouble with that? Went out with 5 people, 4 of them over 50, one was 23. He had to read our menus to us. I swear at one point he leaned over and said, oh honey, would you like some mashed potatoes? They could put some nice peas in it for you. Little snot. Anyway, you can use the front or the back camera with Lumen also, but yeah, I find that really, really useful with the iPhone to, you've got a built-in magnifying glass, right? All right, so now let's start talking about some tools. According to a survey that was done recently, the most asked for application on the iPad is Microsoft Office, which I find kind of comical, actually. I'm not sure why you would really want that. I got to play with the Microsoft Surface last week, and Microsoft Office on the Surface, that's a big deal, right? You got Microsoft, oh, it's really great. They didn't touch enable it. It looks just like regular Office. So all the targets are the wrong sizes. So you can't like grab the edge of a window to save your life. I mean, it's really, really hard to use. So, but people always ask it. So I wanted to talk about a couple alternatives that might be kind of interesting. So everybody knows about iWork already, right? You got Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. So let's look at some different alternatives here. There's an app called Office Squared HD, and it's a really cool app. It's got built into it a word processor, presentation program, and a spreadsheet, and it's actually compatible with Word, Excel, and the dreaded PowerPoint. And I tested this on a few files back and forth, creating them in one and opening them in the other, and it worked flawlessly. The Office Squared HD has cloud support for a whole slew. I mean, I've never even heard of Ignite and Sooner, but it has that. It's got cloud support for all of those. This will run you $8 on the iPad and $6 on the iPhone, and it's from bytesquared.com, sorry. So let me walk through it here. it's a funny application because it's one application but gives you all three of those things in one app. So you don't actually open the spreadsheet, you just go in and say, I want a new document. It says, okay, what kind do you want?
You could buy each of them separately for $1 a piece.
Oh, Raleigh says you can buy them separately for $1 a piece. That's not a bad idea because you'll see
$1 a piece less.
Or $1 a piece less.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
Yeah,
well, the presentation program is pretty bad, so you might want to only buy the word processor and the spreadsheet if that's what you want. So let me show you.
Allison, where did you get it from?
Excuse me?
Byte Squared, was it?
Bytesquared.com, yeah. Okay, I'm doing 5-finger pinch, it's not going. Okay, so I'm going to go into Office Apps here and open Office Squared HD. So I created a couple of test documents here. I've got a Word doc, what do you call it? A word processing document, a presentation document, and a spreadsheet. So I just kind of wanted to show you what it looks like with some text in it. You don't see a lot of stuff in the menu, in the ruler bar there, but as you start working in the text, it actually opens up a whole bunch of options here. You can see you've got, the text size, bold, italics, all that kind of stuff, color coding, indent. And when I first looked at it, I said, well, where's everything else? It turns out if you scroll on that itself, you got more stuff. So if I wanted to just go through here and say, select some text, let's just do some of those, and I wanted to put some bullets on them, I can just bang some bullets in there. I can indent it further, that kind of thing. So it's pretty easy to use once you get the hang of how it works, and it works great. And like I said, I moved this in and out of Word, and it worked flawlessly, so that was no problem. If you want to embed a photo, I'm going to tap in the upper right, the third button from the left. Ooh, that time you saw mine. So let's see, I can go in here and let me just take a screenshot and throw that in there. So I can take this and move it around with my finger, and it scrolls around just like Pages does. So that's kind of neat, and I can shrink and increase it and everything. So it works really well. I think it works fine. I don't write a lot of documents in it, but the times that I have, I found it really worked well.
Does it put it over the text?
Does it put it over the text? No, that's actually moving the text around. It's sliding it around on either side of it. So I imagine, let's see if that's selected. Let's see what that I button does. I can add borders and all kinds of cute stuff to it. Arrange. Oh, there we go. Wrap around, so you can have it in line with text. You can mess around with how that works, how you like it. I'm just glad I'm not having to look at that stupid little dog. I mean, people hate that dog. Dog's never doing what I want him to do.
Allison?
Yeah.
A couple of points I've found, especially in the version of the spreadsheet, it's got
I'm not to the spreadsheet yet, Raleigh. Let's show it to him.
It's really weird, but most importantly, if you send them a bug report, they're back within hours.
Oh, good tech support, he's saying. When he sent them a bug report, they were really quick.
Yeah.
That matters a lot. If you wrote one to Microsoft, I wonder how quickly they'd get back to you. It does do...
Which century?
It does do autocorrect in the text also in the word processor. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't see what you need Word for. So let's switch to the spreadsheet here. It has a gazillion functions. Let's see. Let me close that and don't save. So if I go into... I made a pretty fancy spreadsheet here. I'm counting the number of dogs, cats, and birds. If I wanted to insert a function, I'm just going to click in the cell under the 13 there, and you see the function button in the upper right. Let me press that. And it assumed, let's see, what do I want to do? No, I want to do, here we go. These are the functions that it supports. There's even VLOOKUP in here, Mike.
Is there a pivot table?
No, you're stealing my final line. It says there's no pivot tables. That's the last line of my chart. But so it'll actually do the functions for you, just like it would in Office, except it's going to say that's not a very good pivot table, or not a very good VLOOKUP. So let me get out of that. Again, if I scroll to the right, I get a whole bunch more things I can do. I can put lines under stuff. You can do freeze panes, so you can scroll one part of it and have the other parts hold still. Let's see, what else I have notes on here. Supports cell merging, text wrapping, freeze panes, and again, swiping back and forth. You can do, as you can see, you can do colors, and I mean, it works fine. I guess I'm just old school. I'm an Excel fanatic, and I hate numbers. I can't get my head around the idea that there's two spreadsheets on the same page. It doesn't work for me. So I'm a lot more comfortable in this. If I really had to bang out a spreadsheet, I think I would do it in Office Squared HD instead.
It also doesn't do array functions.
Doesn't do array functions, jeez. There you go.
Something we use every day.
Every day, right. It probably doesn't do footnotes in the word processor too, so. The presentation program's horrible. It's just awful. Let me switch back and show you that one. Don't save here. So I made a presentation. This is the only style there is. There's nothing else.
That's it?
It makes bullets on a piece of paper. It's possible I'm missing something, but I couldn't, there's no swipe right left on that menu bar. There's nothing I could do in that. I guess I could stick a picture in, if we wanted to put a picture in, we could do that. We could add a picture and that's about it. No, apparently we can't. There we go. Yep. Oh, but look, it doesn't even wrap around it. So, yeah, forget the presentation program. Any questions on Office Squared HD? All right. Mind mapping tools. I love mind mapping. Anybody here use mind mapping tools? All right, a couple of fanatics here. So in my job, they bought me Mind Manager from MindJet, and I forget how much that cost. Do you remember? It was like $150.
I thought it's making more now.
Maybe it was $400. It was a fortune, and it was really capable. It could do all this really crazy stuff. But I found that it wasn't where I was, and my ideas come to me when I'm out and about, and that's when I want to try to gather ideas together. And if you haven't used a mind mapping tool before, I will show you. Actually, I'll use my charts. It's a way to organize ideas. So I talked to a woman once who had actually written a book. She did her entire outline using a mind mapping tool. I planned all my I started planning my talks for MacMania when Neil told me I could do this. I just started writing down, I made little blobs for each of the talks I would do, and then started thinking about what would I say if I were to do that topic. I'll tell you later on in this what I actually ended up using in the end, but it was a way to get started. I actually did my packing list for Australia in one of these tools, so to me it's a really, really easy way to work. So again, having it with me on my iPad, if I'm in the grocery store and I realize, I forgot I got to pack my spare contact lenses, I can bang it out and throw it in there. So it's definitely a productivity thing for me. I'm actually creating something. So these start with a central node. So you have a central node of an idea. Some of them allow you to have more than one central node, but in general they just have one. And then you create these child nodes below that, and child nodes below that, and peer nodes, that sort of thing. And you can move these around. You can slide them around with your finger, and I'll show you this in a few minutes. You can add color codes, you can add links to them, you can add graphics, you can collapse and expand them on some of the better ones. And like I said, it's perfect for the iPad because it's with you when you're working on it. Some of the apps actually sync to the desktop so you can sharpen them up when you get back. But I didn't ever find one where it was 100%, it exists in both places like the way Keynote does with iCloud now. So iThoughts is my favorite. Let me show you that one. So this one's $10, and one of the main things I wanted to tell you is how much MindJet costs. MindJet on the iPad I think is $50 now. This is $10. So $10 is a big number, I know, on iOS apps, but I think it's definitely worth it. $8 for iThoughts on the iPhone, and I have trouble picturing doing it on the small screen. I don't know that I would go that route if I just had an iPhone. I like it because it's got really smooth transitions. So let me show you. So my comments are here. So this is definitely my favorite. So I can pinch and zoom in to see what I'm working on. So let's say I was looking at, by the way, I didn't start with any of these categories. The first thing I put on my packing list was backup drive. That's the first thing I put down. Then of course I got my iPad, I've got the charger, the camera connection kit, the regular dock cable, I've got my iPhone, I got 3 different kinds of camera stuff. I did all that. Yes, sundry was one of the last things I added in there. Oh, camera gear. So you see the plus to the left of that. I'm going to click that, and now it expands out. And I color-coded these as I finished each one. I tapped on it, and then I tap on the eye, and whoops, not the eye. Maybe it is the eye. Color, there it is. So I tapped the eye, and I could just change the color. So I could go through and make sure visually I would know, yeah, that's already in the bag. I've got that one covered. If I want to create a sub-node to that, in the upper right-hand corner, you see 6 icons. The far left one is going to create a child node, so I'll drop that in. And one of the things I really like about, come on, get off of that. Okay, there we go. One of the things I like about iThoughts HD is if you hit, come on, there we go. If I type hello, and now if I hit 3 carriage returns, it's going to give me a parallel node. So watch this, 1, 2, 3. and I get another one. So I can sit there and, you know, put that in, 1, 2, 3, I got another one. So I can very, very rapidly add those. And nicely, I can also undo very quickly too, so I can get rid of this slop. So I'm really fond of this one. I like the colors. You can also draw connections. So this is just simple lists that are very hierarchical. But you might have a relationship, say, between Big Lens and Canon. I can tap the 4th button over on the far right, and that allows me to, now I'm going to tap on Canon, and you'll see I've got an arrow between the two of those, that there's some relationship between the two of those. And I can stretch that. Let's see if I can grab that blue dot. I can stretch it out and show, you know, I've got this, you know, don't forget the big lens that goes with the Canon also. So sometimes you have related topics. One thing I think is kind of goofy is you can add icons. So I could add like, a little derby hat there. Or I can add shapes. No, where was it? I thought there was one for photos. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Anyway, the pictures are stupid. They had like little cool pictures of like a pig or something. And I put it in. The pig was about this big on the screen. It was this giant pig. I was like, well, that's cute. Really helpful. You can also change the way the boundaries look, and you know, your text and your font and auto numbering. There's just the capabilities of this thing go on and on and on. And let's see, the 4th button from the left, I'm going to push that for share. I didn't even try to put this on the chart because of all the different share options here. You can send it to your camera app. One of the best things you can do is, if you say send it an email, you can do all of these at the same time. So I can send it as a PDF, as an iThoughts file, as an OPML, everything. One of them is include, outline, and body. And if I hit compose email, it's going to bring it up as a list. So if you like if you're more comfortable with kind of a bulleted list and you want to print it and scratch it off with your pen, that's another way you can go.
You brought diamonds?
What's that?
You brought the diamonds?
Uh-oh. Yeah, you always take a chance when you're doing this. What's on that list? Yeah, my husband's looking at me funny there. I hid the weird ones. All right, time to get off that before I do something silly. So let's see, yeah, import and export. Like I said, you can export all these different options. So iThoughts HD is the one I keep falling back to, but I'm going to show you another one. I have a soft spot in my heart for MindNode because they were the first ones to come out with a mind mapping tool that I saw at a good price. You get $10 for a universal app, so it works on the iPad and the iPhone, so that's kind of nice. And that's from mindnode.com. They also have MindNode Pro for the Mac, so you can work with it there. It's sort of, it doesn't really sync, but you can work on one and send it to the other and open it up and work on it and send it over, which is not, I don't know, we've gotten a little spoiled that we expect things to just be everywhere. So it's really easy to use. It's not quite as pretty as iThoughts HD, but it does have good options to go to the desktop version that iThoughts HD doesn't. So let's see, let me remember where I'm going. Okay,
You showed a lot of text in that. Is it more, I mean, because that seems like it would be great for writing as opposed to lists, but could you do the text in iThoughts as well?
The text.
You had more lists like camera, etc.
Oh, those were just, I had collapsed the bullets. So yeah, if I go, let's see if I go back into iThoughts. So like Nikon, those are there. The GoPro. If I tap on the thing next to it, there's a lot more in there.
But I mean, there's not a narrative. Whereas in the next program, you actually seem to have paragraphs. So if you're writing.
No.
Okay.
No. No, not in this one. Maybe it was looking at the export list. This is an example that I did. I do a blog at work called Mentor Me, and this is an example of where you've got two nodes, and I know you can't read any of that. That's on purpose, but this is an example of an app that allows you to have more than one central node, and that was kind of nice because when I finished working on something on one of these ideas, I could move it from the right to the left. So I grabbed those nodes, and you can actually I didn't show that, but you can grab these and you can actually move them around. They slide around so you can organize it and make it look nice. You can also have it auto-organized where it makes everything fit all pretty on screen. But you can actually take these, and it's kind of, because this one's gotten so giant, it's kind of hard. But I could take this, let's see if I can get this to work. Take this node on the left, and I can attach it to that, I think. There, it just moved over to the one on the left. So when you realize, oh, that idea doesn't fit there, let me attach it to that idea, you can move them around like that. And that works also in iThoughts HD. So when your ideas are maybe kind of jumbled, you just get them out there, and then you can pick and move them around and drag them around with your fingers like that.
Did you mention being able to print what's on your iPad?
Oh, can you print what's on your iPad? Yeah, except it's completely worthless because of the size of this. You know, think of it, there, I can print it on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that I could never read, so.
Well, I was thinking of iThoughts where you had,
If you collapsed them, maybe it would be helpful, but you're gonna
outline.
wanna go to the next one. But yeah, the outline would be a better way to go. This one, in the far upper right, you see those bullets, you can actually see the outline of it. So if you want to jump right down to the house buying age gap, there, it just identified it for me, so now I can jump right to it. So when you have a giant one, it's a little easier to zoom right in on something, so it shows you that hierarchy. But yeah, I've tried printing them, I've printed them to PDF, but if they're any kind of content at all, it's really pretty useless. Uh-oh. You guys are reading what I wrote and everything here.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, you like that one. I was mocking young people. So all these whiners complaining they can't buy a house. Oh, cry me a river. Sorry. My first interest rate was 17.8%. I don't want to hear about it. I can't afford to buy a house. Anyway, so I do like MyNode. MyNode doesn't let you collapse the nodes though, and the collapsing of the nodes really helps you focus in on one area, and then you can pop it open and go work on another area. So I think that's kind of why I have gone towards the other one. I'm trying to remember. Let's see if I go back to documents. Yeah, so you see the sync button in the bottom left. That's what allows it to sync up and over and back down to MyNode Pro on the Mac. So if you like to go back and forth to the Mac, that is useful as well. Yep, nice. How was it? Oh, I didn't ever find the export. In the bottom right, you can see there it shows that you can send it as a MyNode document, a FreeMind document. FreeMind is an open source app, which I don't think exists on the iPad. Anybody know? I'm not sure. But it's a free one for the Mac that's pretty nice. So a lot of people, they write their tools so they use that as a generic format to kind of pass through. And you can do it as pictures, like I said. You can send a PNG that nobody can read, so that's nice. All right, note-taking apps. I'm going to walk you through a couple of these that I really like. Again, there's, 2 or 3 million of these, but I'm going to talk about some of the ones that I actually have used. Simple Note is a really, really interesting app. There's an app on the Mac. The first app on the Mac was called Notational Velocity, and I think it's an open source app, meaning anybody can develop the code, and they kind of stopped developing it. So somebody came out with another one called NVAlt that worked on notational velocity. So nobody uses notational velocity anymore, they use NVAlt. You open up NVAlt on your Mac, and actually, let me get out of this for just 1 second. NVAlt. I'll show you what NVAlt looks like on the Mac. So if you want to create a new note, you just start typing the note. So I haven't typed anything about MacMania. So now I just go down here and I just start typing on my note. Hello everyone. Now this is now created on my Mac, but it will automatically sync up to the cloud and down to my iOS devices. So I had one here. I did a review of Hype that I wrote using notational velocity. NVAlt. I keep forgetting they switched. So here it is on NVAlt. But then I'm going to come over there, and I'm going to bring up, let's see, I don't remember where it is. Let's do our search thing, because that's all I can do. And can't remember anything. There's Simple Note, and there's the Hype review in Simple Note on the iPad. So I can write notes here. They show up on my Mac. I can write them on my Mac. They show up on the iPad, but they also show up in the cloud in a web browser. So you go to I think it's, let's see, I wrote it down. I think it's simplenote.com. Okay, there we go. Back into that. Yeah, it's simplenoteapp.com. If you go there, you can access your notes there too. So you can just bring up a web browser. So it really makes it where you can work on these notes any place you are. You can get access to it. So I think that's really nice. It really works seamlessly. And I believe, it's free on iOS, it's free on the Mac, it's free on the web, it's free everywhere. So I kind of love that one. And you're never transferring files. It just, if I had an internet connection, that MacMania hello thing I did would show up over there too. So it's a really quick, easy way to do it. And all your devices are literally on the same page. I imagine a few people have heard of Evernote. A couple people in the room, everybody. So Evernote is, I don't use it as much as I should, and I know it does way more than it should, or than it does, or than I use it for, I should say. But it's a great tool because it's free on the Mac, it's free on the iPad, it's free on the iPhone, it's free on the web, and you can write notes and tag them so that you can find them later. I use it for some of the silliest stuff. I use it to keep track of sushi. So I go in a sushi bar and I order something and I think, wow, that was great. So I take a picture of the sushi and I drop it into Evernote and I write yummy. And I write the name of it. So then the next time I come back, I'm going, oh man, which one was that one I liked? Was it the dragon steel roll or the magic squid? I can never remember. So I actually use it to keep track of my sushi orders, and I tag them with sushi so that I can find them. It's free for the 25 megabytes and you can, or per note, and you can do up to 100,000 notes. So that's pretty good. But you can order a premium account that lets you do a lot more. I know you can scan things into it, and it's great for that. Like I said, I don't use it for that very much. I actually wrote all of the notes for these talks. I wrote them in Evernote. And I did that again so that it was everywhere, so that I had a copy of it so that I could be working on it. If I thought of something when I was I could grab my iPhone or my iPad or my Mac. I could jump in and update those notes. So I was able to keep little outlines and drop. I actually dropped all these screenshots in from Evernote. So in fact, actually, this screenshot shows you the talks down the left-hand side with the outlines that I was actually working on when I made the presentation. So it's a really slick app, and I mean, it's free. What are you going to do? This next app is really strange. Let me find, I have one more thing I need here.
Alison, can I just ask, what's the advantage of these note-taking apps over the built-in notes in iOS 6?
So they're just kind of a static list. You don't have any way to tag them so that you can find different things or have things categorized in more than one way. I don't think there's not even a folder or anything like that in the regular Notes app, right?
No, there's no folder, but the one thing I really like about it is the integration with Spotlight, so that I can type Allison in there and if it's in a note or contact.
And it'll find it in there? Yeah, that is a nice feature. I don't think that Spotlight would search inside of these. Yeah. A lot of this is just whatever really makes you happy. If it works for you, you should use it, definitely. Let's see, the next one I want to do is called My Script Memo, and this thing is crazy. Let me quit that. Go into here, let me see, let's see, we're going to go find this. This one actually recognizes your handwriting. Where is it? There. It says, it calls it Memo, but it's My Script Memo. Apparently it's in portrait mode only. Steve, before we leave it, remind me to look for whatever just fell out of my lap.
Got it.
Okay. So let's start a new thing, and I'm going to say, let's see how well this is going to work. You can tell I have fantastic handwriting. And from there, I'm supposed to, in the upper right, I'm going to push this little button here, and I want to change it into text. And it's converting. Oh, I wonder if this requires the internet. Yeah, it's sure looking like it, isn't it? Because it wasn't that hard of a question. Well, let me set it down for a second. I'll switch back to my notes to show you what it looks like. It actually, this is a real example that I did. So this is an example of writing in Microsoft or in My Script Memos, and it's almost flawless. I mean, it was amazing how well it works. It's there's a free version, which is the one I have. Yeah, it says connection error. Never mind. Forgot about that. So it's free for the version I'm showing you right there, and you can send the notes to Facebook, Twitter, Evernote, or Mail. If you pay $8, this is why I thought it had it. You can get on-device text recognition where it doesn't go to the internet to actually do the text recognition, and you can have added security, so whatever you're writing isn't going up to the web against your wishes, and you can do multiple notebooks for keeping track of that. This example one I find really intriguing, but I don't actually use because there's one I like better. The number one app, my favorite app, is called Notability. This is from Ginger Labs and costs a grand total of $1. So if you've noticed, if you tried to write by hand on an iPad, you always end up writing like a 3-year-old in this giant letters, and so you can write like 6 words on the page, right? So that doesn't work. This app lets you write like that, but it's actually writing in a zoomed-in area, and I'll show you how this works. So I actually am really fond of this goofy stylus. It's called the Cosmonaut, and it's just like a big fat crayon, but for some reason it's the one that really works for me. I know everybody loves the Adonit Jot Pro, and I hate it. I don't like it. I like this big fat crayon. Works for me. So let me show you how this one works. Note-taking, notability. So this one.
The screen? Oh.
There we go. So let's go back here. This one allows you to create, I haven't completely followed exactly the way the structure works, but allows you to create categories and then folders within the categories and then notes within those folders. So if I want to create a new note, I'm going to press on create new note. And the first thing I always do is I like to mess with the paper, and they moved the paper on the far right. I think it's that far right button. No, how about the wrench? There's the wrench. On paper, now I can change the color and make it something I can't possibly read, or I can just be normal. And I can add lined paper to it. Now I really caution you not to go too small on the size of the lines, because you can actually write legibly too small using this app. So I'm going to tap on screen, so I can type in text if I want, so I can change this, write some text there. I can do the whole thing in text, but if I type on the pencil, I can write. And I can write in different colors. If I press and hold, I can make it a big fat crayon. I can make it real thin. I can change it to purple, anything I want here. And I can also, the next button is a highlighter, and then there's an eraser. And I'll show you why the eraser is cool too. On the bottom, let's see, on the far right, you'll see there's 3 lines. And I'm going to tap that, and you'll see this thing goes away. And then it's got a hand. So what that is just pressing the hand gives me a wrist rest, so I can put my wrist down and write. I don't actually use that though. I use the magnifying glass, which allows me to write in giant letters here. But you can see how little it is actually on the screen. So I can write really big. In fact, I literally do often write too small because I've got it zoomed in so much. I'm writing really, really tiny and I don't realize it. And I go print my notes. I'm, dang it, I can't read a thing I wrote. You can also grab, there's a magnifying area there. You can grab and drag so you can see more area at a time. And you might wonder what happens when I get to the end of that area. So I'm writing a bunch of text, I'm writing along. As soon as I cross that green line and let go, it slides over automatically. But let's say I want to go to a new line. In the black bar on the far right, the 3rd button over has a carriage return symbol. So I can keep writing and writing and writing. And I can also force it with those 2 left and right arrows to just go over to where I want to write. Isn't that awesome? I just love this. I actually use this. Yeah?
My son showed me that he uses it for his schoolwork every day. And
Yeah?
he copies and pastes from his textbooks, from my books, straight into there, goes on the web, back into there, does all the
Oh, so
schoolwork.
he puts his research in there?
Reads for the maths, a whole lot.
Oh, nice,
I was
nice.
very surprised how it's fantastic.
For $1. It's $1. You know, you got to buy it for $1, right? If you only use it 4 times, 25 cents a piece.
If you do any formatting like dots or ABC or 1, 2, 3, do you just have to use those right and left arrows to format it for you?
I don't actually use it very often in typing, so let's just...
by handwriting, because, so when we go to lectures and we want to make a graph and write, you can't just type that kind of stuff. You made exponential function.
Well, right, so you could be taking your notes here, typing away here, this kind of thing. Sorry, I've got an accessibility feature turned on that's jumping on me. That's what that is. I'll show you that in a second. So you can be doing that, and then you can say, okay, now I want to draw this. Whoops, let me get out of that mode. You can say, okay, I need to draw, some cylinders to go with this with some arrows. So you can jump back and forth and go into text and go right back to where you were. So it's kind of nice to have that combination of the best of both worlds, really, when you're taking notes, especially in school.
Whole buck.
Yeah, whole buck. Let's see what else I had to say about that. So you can have multiple notebooks, categories and subjects. There's a really cute tutorial in here that I did read once, and then of course I forgot what it was in the welcome here. Let's see, the Notability User Guide is really, really good. So they show you, like, to scroll, you use 2 fingers, because if you use 1 finger, you'll draw on the screen, because it's expecting you to draw. This is where, you can put little sticky notes in. I mean, this thing is this is crazy capable. I'm looking for the picture. They explain put photos in there. They explain how you use the categories. Shoot, find it. It's a picture of some fish. I'll recognize it when I get there. There it is. So here it says category, subject, note. So it would be really neat if somebody told me you weren't seeing what I'm seeing. I've been showing you a lot of
Found it, it didn't matter.
So yeah, that's true. So category has subjects, has notes in it, and It actually looks like this has gotten a little messed up. Those aren't supposed to be on top of there. But anyway, that's how I always have to come back here to remember, okay, which one's a category. I find that a little bit confusing, but I assume if you use that all the time, you'd probably get really good at that. So, yeah, whoops. Now, since you guys didn't see, because I was dunderhead not showing the screen. Let's see, there's like the sticky notes you can put on there. You can paste them on there, and you can type or handwrite on those notes, too. Just fabulous, fabulous stuff. Let's see, how am I doing on time? I feel like I'm going too fast.
What's the name of the stylus that you
Oh.
use / like?
Cosmonaut, spelled like the Russian astronauts. I really like it. You can come play with it afterwards if you want. Oh, yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. It's really easy to erase.
Screen.
Thank you. So one of the things that's irritating when you go to erase normally is you have to erase every little bit of where you drew, right? So you wrote a long word, you have to go around and catch and erase over all of it. This is actually vectors, so if I tap on the eraser, if I drag over part of that, watch when I let go, the whole thing disappears. So let me put something really long so it's more like that. If I press on the eraser and I catch any part of that, the whole thing disappears. So it's way easier to fix your mistakes, just erase it really, really easily. And that also works when you're in the magnify mode. So if I'm down here and I want to erase that, I can get rid of pieces of it. Whoops, got to be on the eraser for it to work though. So you can see just big chunks of it disappearing. Really, really nice feature. I literally cannot find anything not to like about it. You can export it as PDF, rich text format, so I think you get graphics with the text with that, or Note. I wonder what Note was. I probably didn't know what Note was. Oh, here's all the stuff you can, wait, wrong screen. So email, Dropbox, Google Drive, Twitter, Box.net, WebDev, print, iTunes, you can print it. Why would you open this in iTunes? I guess just because they could. Can you put documents in iTunes? I don't know. That's kind of weird. So yeah, just the capabilities go on, and they keep improving it, and I think it's fabulous, in case you can't tell. All right, lists and to-dos. I'm going to check real quick. I have a feeling I'm powering through this too quickly. Wait. Uh-oh, I'm in a hole in the space-time continuum now. Which screen am I on? Where did it go? Please. What am I on? 21. Oh, no, I got a lot more to talk about. It'll be good. Ask more questions, though, because we are going fast here. Lists and to-dos. You know, I read the Getting Things Done book, and I went, oh, absolutely, I am going to get so organized, but first let me try out a lot of tools, which is what a lot of people do, and then I never did it. I just don't do it. I use little sticky pieces of paper on my desk, and they irritate me, so I do the task because then I get to throw them away. So you got to find what works for you, right? So I used to use a lot of different list apps, and now I'm using Apple Reminders. If you haven't played with that, it's fantastic. So you can create reminders. You can just make lists of things you want to do. Like I can't show it on screen because Steve's Christmas list is in there already. But it syncs between your iPhone, your iPad, and your Mac. Which again, that's an essential thing now. We don't accept it without it. But you can also do them on a date or a time. So I'm sorry, a date and time or a location. So you can actually do a reminder that says, remind me to take the trash out when I get home. And you teach it where home is. You give it your home address, and from then on, when you drive in, that thing dings and tells you that you've got something you got to do. I believe that burns up battery really, really fast, though, because the GPS all day is going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So, take your risk. If you got your Mophie juice pack, you're good to go. But otherwise, you may not want to be able to do that. One thing I don't like about it is if you do them on a date and a time, it actually creates a separate calendar for every category. So you can see I've got a category Allison at podfeed.com. I got Allison Sheridan, movies and podcasts. I've added 4 or 5 more. I now have like 16 calendars over in my calendar, and I'm not sure I really like that. Like, couldn't it just put it all on the main calendar? I don't know why it had to create separate calendars for that. It works with Siri, so it's real nice if you've got an iPhone 4S or 4 and or a 5 or a newer iPad. You can just grab it and say, hey, remind me to put the trash out when I get home. And it says, all right, I'm good. I got it for you. So I'm really, really pleased with reminders. And again, I'm sure that Getting Things Done people are having strokes right now, not enjoying that. But I just don't do it.
One
Yeah.
thing that I believe I found is, let's say you're someplace godforsaken like Death Valley, and you say, remind me to take a picture of Death Valley Scotty's castle.
I'm gonna start talking to repeat so everybody can hear you. He said when he's in some obscure place like Death Valley, and he tells it, remind me to take a picture.
Of Death Valley Scotty's castle, it doesn't know where it is, so it can't do the place reminder.
Well, if you had in your contacts, if you had Death Valley Scotty's castle in your contacts, it could do it.
Okay.
So it's not syncing over to Google Maps or Apple Maps or anything like that. It's looking at your contact list. So you can say, when I get to Sally's house, make sure I bring in the flowers I brought her, but only if you tell it who Sally is.
Okay.
Everyone has to be marked in your contacts.
Right, the locations have to be in your contacts. Right. All right, this is a really, really weird case, and I don't think I can demo this because I think I might open that hole in the space-time continuum with what I'm trying to do. You're ever sitting there working on your Mac, maybe you got your Mac in your lap and you're sitting on the couch and you just wish you had another screen, you want to watch Twitter on another screen, but you're not going to carry your 27-inch monitor down, set it on the couch. You can actually use your iPad or your iPhone as a second screen using an app called Air Display. It's $10 from Avatron, and this thing is fantastic. They basically have to be on the same Wi-Fi network, and I could do it right now, but then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing here, so I can't show it to you we can do it afterwards if you guys want to see it. But if they're on the same Wi-Fi network, you launch Air Display on the Mac, and then you launch Air Display on the iPhone or the iPad, and back on the Mac, you actually choose, there's a list of devices. So you might have your iPad and your iPhone, and it actually acts like a real display. You know how in display preferences, you can turn on mirroring, or you can change the resolution, all those kinds of things? Your iPhone and iPad will show up in that list of actual displays, and you can set the resolution and things like that. One of the problems I had with it was that the screen on the iPad 3 was so high resolution, I couldn't read anything. So I'm on a normal MacBook Pro, and I dragged something over there. Like I remember doing one of the Apple keynotes when I was watching a whole bunch of blogs. I set my iPad up there, and I moved, Gizmodo or somebody over there. I couldn't read it. So I was like, command plussing like an idiot, trying to get it big enough to see. Well, a buddy of mine recently, my buddy Kevin, just happened out of the blue to say, hey, did you know you can turn off the Retina display when you do it? So in Air Display's preferences, you can actually say, yeah, don't use Retina on the iPad, and all of a sudden you can read it. So that was kind of a neat little feature.
It's actually the other way around. You tell your Mac that it's a Retina display and needs to use bigger fonts. It's HIGCP or something.
Let's see.
It actually treats it as a Retina display.
So here's what Air Display looks like. And on settings, so I would turn this on, and again, I don't want to mess up what I've got going because it was delicate to get it started. So if I had this turned on, I could choose the device right here, and then in settings, this is where you can say use Retina resolutions when available. So I uncheck that, and that makes the text big on the iPad.
But it's the next one that you would check actually.
Oh, so what does that one do? HDPI resolutions.
It actually increases the fonts.
Huh.
So 2 ways of solving the issue.
Yeah, why would they give you 2 ways to do the same thing? That's
Because the Retina was not available, I think at the time they implemented HIGCP.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll have to play with that. Maybe we'll play with it at the Ingenious Bar tonight or something. That would be fun. Thank you. What I love about this stuff is everybody gets to learn, right? You teach, you learn a lot of stuff because everybody's smarter than me. That is one of my mantras I like to say is no matter how much you know, somebody knows more than you do. And no matter how little you know, somebody knows less than you. We all owe it to pull the guy right behind us up a little bit, right? We all get to know more. So that's cool. So I actually used, at one point it was kind of funny, I took Evernote on my Mac and I used Air Display to set up my iPad as a secondary display, and I moved Evernote over there and I was working along, and the next night I went to do it and I went, Evernote's already on the iPad, why am I doing all this to use it? But I did do it when I was working on creating these presentations. I had it as a secondary display. This is the silliest little app, and I don't have it on the iPad, I have it on my iPhone. There's an app called Captio, and again, the getting things done people would have heartburn with what I do. Captio is an app where you teach it what your email address is. So I tell it allison@podfeet.com, and then anytime I want to send myself a note to remember to do something, a lot of times I just want to send myself an email, and it's just going to say, boombits.com. I just want to remember that. I can just open this app, I type in boombits.com, I hit send, and it sends me an email because it already knows my address, and it doesn't bother it with a title of it or anything like that because it's just a mail to you. It's a funny little app, but I use it all the time because I use my I use my mailbox as a to-do list, just like they tell you not to. But yeah, yeah. Let's be honest. Come on, how many people are there? So it's a really funny little app, but it's really fast and efficient to send yourself a note. So I really do like it.
Is that on the Mac or on the iPad?
That's on the iPhone. It's probably 2x on the iPad. If I didn't say anything on it here, I didn't double check that. I don't remember if it's on the iPad as well. Actually, let me just double check and see if I have it on here. I don't think I do.
You're not on that screen.
Yeah, well, I was going to wait until, oh, I do have it on here. Oh, goody. All right, let's see, get rid of you. Go back to you. There's Captio. So this is the entirety of what it does. So you type a note and you hit send, and that's all you do. That's all it does, is it sends yourself an email. I love it. It's
Can
so
you do
slow.
it with Siri? Can you talk Siri to do it? Talk it?
Yeah.
Well, it's got voice dictation, so let's see.
You can't do it. You need the internet.
Ah, right. Well, the Nexus 7 can do it without the internet, you know.
Uh-oh.
See, I just like to rile things up. Good point, but yeah, it does look like you can, it's voice dictation, it's not truly Siri. You could launch it with Siri, you could say launch Captio and then press the button, I guess. Time Scroller is one of my all-time favorite apps. So there's a lot of apps out there that'll tell you what time it is in another time zone. You want to know what time is it in Belgium, you can just say what time is it in Belgium, it'll tell you. What they don't tell you is what time will it be at a time you're thinking about. So like when I was trying to figure out, I'm landing at 8:20 in the morning in Australia, what time will it be at my house? Time Scroller is the app that can do this for you. So let me use my search again.
Screen?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. See, you guys are getting better. I do my show live on Sunday nights, and I've trained the audience to scream "save" at me every time I stop talking. You just see it go save, 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 save. So I like a little participation here. So in Time Scroller, this is a 2x app, so it's better on the iPhone. This also runs on the Mac, and I can show you, it's actually a little bit better on iOS. It's written by a guy who's in school right now, very responsive, but he's in school, so he'll tell you, oh, yeah, I know, okay, sorry, I'll get to that soon, but I got a final on Tuesday. So his heart's in the right place. But what you do is you start by saying, okay, I want to add a place. Let's say we want to know what time it is in Brisbane, because that's handy today. So now Brisbane has been added to the list right here. So it's showing you 2:29 p.m. But let's say I'm in the United States. So I'm down here at the bottom. It says me in California. You can edit these so you can see, like I've got one for Don and Bart Bouchatz, my co-host on my show. So if I want to know, for example, what time will it be at Don's house when it's, let's say I want to set up a Mac roundtable with him for, I want to go to 3 p.m. for me. I look and I say, oh, that's midnight for Don. Maybe not. Well, Bart's still up. That's fine. We'll talk to Bart because he goes to bed at 2 in the morning. I can see that Katie Floyd can go because it's at 7 p.m. and the guys on the East Coast at 7 p.m. too. So we can set up a Tim Report 6 p.m. over in Wisconsin. We got a show. We got a Mac Roundtable. So it's a really cool app for figuring out what time it will be. If, and this is only with iOS the way this works, let's say I wanted all these people to be at a meeting. I'm going to press the share button in the upper right, and I'm going to create an email, and it's going to show them all what time it is in their time zone. Isn't that crazy? That's a lot of math you have to do, and I am not fond of arithmetic, so I really like that. The red, green, yellow also is, let's see, I'm going to tap the now button because that gets me back to, is it the edit? There we go. So if I hit the edit button, I can change these. I can delete them, like I actually don't want Brisbane. I'll take that out. But let's say I wanted to rename one of them. I think if I just tap on it, there you go. So it says Sydney. Where's the time? Oh, I found out the latitude and longitude. I didn't know it could do that. Oh, this is what I was going to show you. So, no, edit rules, there it is. So you can change what time is considered green. So I would like to be able to do this by person. That'd be really nice because Bart will talk to me till 2 in the morning, but Don's real sick of me by about 9:15. So I'd like to have green and red and yellow be different by person and by location, but they're not. But you can declare what these rules are, insert new rules, and that sort of thing. So it's kind of, oh wait, oh look, custom city rules. All right, the Belgians stay up late. So I guess you can. I had what I wanted. He must have enhanced it when I wasn't looking. I use this app all the time. Let me show you how it works on the on the Mac, it's actually the only reason to use dashboard. There you go, you heard it. So this is completely independent, but you can see Alistair, Jenks in New Zealand, and Bart and Don and me, and I've got them as separate ones, but you can, I actually did need to set up a call with somebody in Ho Chi Minh City, but not anymore. But again, you can use this scroller to say, okay, it's 8:30 for me, let me see if it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, Alistair will be 8 a.m. This one's free. It costs like $1 or $2. I forget. It's on the previous screen. Shows you how much it is on the other one. But this is a reason to use dashboard finally. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So it's $2 for the iPhone and or iPad, but it's a 2x app, so it's not the best experience there. But you can see it gets the job done. It's just fine. Let's see the share button. Yeah. So the stuff I showed you was sharing. You can't do that with the Mac version. He swears when he graduates he's going to give me that on the Mac version too. This one's a little bit of a heavy lifting one, and I definitely can't demonstrate this. TeamViewer allows you to log into your computer at home for free. So you're out and about with your iPad and you need to get into your Mac to do something. You can actually bring the screen in on your Mac. So this is free for the Mac, PC, Linux, and it's free for the iPhone and iPad, free across the board. If you're using it for business, they want your money. But if you're using it for personal use, there's no cost at all. So you set up a connection between the two devices. You tell the two devices, I'm going to talk from this device to this device, and you save it as a partner. So you can later on get to that device without doing a bunch of shenanigans later. So you can set it up first. So that connection, you give it a password and you say, okay, I want to do a direct connect from this iPad to this Mac. And once it remembers that, then you don't have to do any work at all. You can actually get keyboard control and mouse control. You can type and stuff like that right into it. It's really, really slow. But, you know, if you really need to get to that file and get it moved into your Dropbox so you can pick it up on your iPad or something like that, it is a way to do it. And, of course, your Mac does have to be awake at your house. You can't wake it up from there. One way to speed it up is to lower the color space. You see how nasty this looks, how it's graphically kind of nasty looking? I've lowered the color space, and it got a lot faster when I did that. So that is a way to speed it up, but if you want it to look pretty, it's going to be slow. So it's kind of neat as a fallback if you really are going to need it. Yeah.
If it's anything like any of the others, of which there are several, don't do it at C.
Don't do it at C. Yeah, there you go. Selling a lot of spending a lot of megabytes, that's for sure, right? Yeah.
I use it a lot for web demonstrations. So you can log on to your machine, you click meeting, and then it sends a link to someone else, and then they click on the link, they get a small...
Oh, so it's working like a log me in or a show me or one of those?
It's very quick. In seconds you can have somebody watching your desktop.
If you guys didn't hear in the back, he said one of the things it can do that I didn't know it could do is it allows you to send a link to somebody and then you can control their machine. So not just...
I can do a web demonstration on my machine.
Okay, you're showing to them.
You can switch.
Okay. Oh, I did not know it could do that. And it's still free, right?
Yeah.
And that works across platform, and you don't need to install the client on one end. You can.
So it works cross-platform, and you don't have to install a client on the other end. Oh, fantastic!
And there's one other thing else, and one of the things in there lets you tell it to optimize the connection for quality or speed.
Okay, he said that there's a connection or a toggle in there that you can set it to maximize quality or speed. I'd always be going for speed. I don't care what it looks like. Yes.
So you said if your machine, if you're at a meeting and you realize you left an important file or something and you want to get it, so if your computer has gone to sleep, you're out of luck.
You're out of luck. Yeah, because it's asleep.
Oh.
Not wake on LAN? That doesn't...
I don't think it does wake on LAN. Oh, it does? Okay, he's saying...
How does that actually work?
Yeah, I've got
That's why it's on the
I've got a bunch of servers all over the world, and I just connect them remotely. Well, servers, I guess. I'll go on desktops as well, and I can...
And you can't do wake on LAN with it?
Well, I don't know if all wake on LANs are the same. The machines...
So it depends, your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
I think there's settings actually on the Macs themselves that change whether or not it allows incoming connections to wake it up, so maybe it's dependent on that.
You can use back to my Mac if you're worried about your machine sleeping, that'll wake it up.
Okay, he said back to my Mac will wake up. I've heard a lot of dodginess about back to my Mac, comes and goes on whether it works.
Just gotta try it.
Yeah, maybe it's good to have a few of these in your arsenal for emergencies. Yeah, this is the kind of thing you kind of want to set up ahead of time and get it ready, though. So if you're going to need to do it all the time, And if that machine you're trying to get to is behind a firewall of, a security firewall by a company, all bets are off. I promise nothing.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
other thing, if you're setting it up at home, if you have like a hotspot or something like that, that can use a Verizon or iPhone or AT&T or whatever, that's your way to test it. Because otherwise you're on your own network.
Yeah, so he's saying you want to have something like the MiFi to test it so that you make sure that one is on one network and one is on the other, one's on the outside, one's on the inside, or else you're not doing a fair test.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't think it depended on the IP address staying static though, did it?
No.
Which is pretty cool.
And no settings required
Yeah.
on the routers. It's
Yeah, no
just
settings, just drills right through.
At the risk of sounding like we work for 10 years,
I'm repeating what you're saying because we are recording this, so go ahead.
well, I will say that the Mac support isn't as good as it is for Windows, so I always hassle them about that. But
Mac support's better on Windows than it is for the Mac.
No.
I mean, tech support.
It works better on Windows than it does on the Mac.
I'm sorry. Okay, so the app actually runs better on Windows.
But it does work reasonably well, and you can just transfer files directly as well.
Oh, you can transfer files. Boy, I should have had him doing this. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know it could do that too. So you could actually get that file, not just show the file. So you could get it in the disconnect.
You get a twin pane file browser.
Okay.
Local and remote.
Like an FTP client kind of thing.
That's exactly like that.
Fantastic. This does a lot.
About these, who's using LogMeIn?
Anybody using
What's the
LogMeIn?
difference between the LogMeIn free and the ignition that we all paid so much money for a while ago?
I've lost
I
control.
think they $29 for ignition.
Yeah, I think it's all free now.
I think free works really quite well.
Question about LogMeIn, whether it's difference between free and the Ignite version, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they don't charge at all for it now.
I just saw it that I tried to download it again last week and I could only find LogMeIn free.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think
So you're wondering.
ignition.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, there are some other ones that are pretty cool. So let's move into the travel category. Once you've already plotted out your packing list over in iThoughts HD, because you're going to do everything exactly the way I did it, you make your hotel, airfare, and car reservations. You kind of need a place to keep that stuff organized. There's a really slick app called TripIt, which you can use for free, and it allows you to organize and contain your flight, your hotel, your airfare, everything about where you're going. It voluntarily puts in things like a map to the hotel that you're going to. I tend to turn that off, but it's it's a feature that's involved in it. This is completely free. You can get paid accounts that do more. And it's got a weird social aspect to it that I find a little creepy. I don't like telling everybody exactly where I'm going or where I'm staying, but if you're that kind of person, you can share everything and say, I'm going on a flight. It sends little messages to everybody when you're going someplace. Rob me now. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Everybody knows I'm here and not very contactable. But anyway, it's kind of a neat app. It'll allow you, with certain services, you can actually just mail your itinerary to a unique address you're given on TripIt, and it imports all that information. Most of the trips I go on, it doesn't work, but it just happens to be a system I'm using. But I understand that works quite well for most people, so that's kind of cool.
Plans@tripit.com.
Plans@tripit.com?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had to be unique to you, though. I thought it was, because that's how it knew who to shove it into?
It looks at the email address.
Oh, it looks
that
at
you
the
sent
email
from-
address and knows it. Okay, so plans@tripit.com.
And it puts it right in. And then you can sync it with your calendar app on your iPhone.
Oh, he says now you can sync it with your calendar app. I actually haven't used it in a little while. I used it at Mac Computer Expo, but I didn't know it synced with the calendar. That's very cool. Excellent. Look how much I'm learning. This is awesome. All right, well, we're winding up here. One thing I like to do is put the giant link farm of doom at the end, so when you look at the charts, you don't have to fish through and find it. All of the links that I've given you are all in here. I've got 2 pages of them on this one. I have trademark on the top. My friend Donald Burr from Otaku No Podcast always adds of doom to everything he says, so I just liked it. So there's another page for the people taking photos of the screen. And walks you through all of those, and wait till she's done taking pictures. There we go. Again, it'll all be on, where did I say I put it? Slideshare.net. There we go. So if you guys want to contact me later, my address is allison@podfeet.com. On my podcast, I have a segment called Dumb Question Corner, And the idea of Dumb Question Corner is to send in the dumb questions that you think everybody else already knows the answer to, but I guarantee you somebody else does not know the answer to it. It's one of the funnest parts of the show because people are like, oh yeah, I got a dumb question, and they actually title their emails, I got a dumb question, that kind of thing. What I don't like is when they send me really, really complicated questions. You know, they're asking me to explain TCP and UDP on my router, port forwarding or something. I don't want to answer those questions. I like the easy ones that other people probably have questions about too. So I really, really encourage a lot of emails on that kind of thing, and I just love helping people. So any other questions on anything I went through there? How long did I go?
An hour 9.
Hour 9.
10 minutes.
Oh, I should have talked slower. Any other questions? All right.
Excellent, thank you.